Today, we are visiting my three most local CEX stores and we have a little bit of a time limit. So I've dropped the kids off, I've done the school run, taken my little girl to an appointment, dropped her back off at nursery. I've got roughly 4 hours until I then need to be back at school again to do the pickup. And theoretically, it should be more than possible, it should be easy enough. Those three stores, in order that we're going to go to them, are Cheltenham, Stroud, and then Gloucester. And we are basically doing some game hunting. We are now halfway through March or so, and I haven't done any real game hunts or pickups for the year. Obviously, I've been really busy with my games room renovation, picking up a CRT TV, and just stuff like that. And it's taken a lot of time and a lot of the old capacity in the noggin, quite frankly. So I've not been on any game hunts or anything.
I knew it was coming, and I didn't resist.
積年の恨み、今こそ晴らさん。
Right, that's us out of the Cheltenham CEX store. But we did pick up a few games, and interesting in that I picked something up which should have definitely been behind a cabinet, or at the very least all of the stuff inside it. And then we picked up a PS2 game that did have all of the stuff that should have been inside it behind the desk, in a sleeve. So I'm very thankful that I picked it up, because obviously it was completely empty. Yeah, so this is basically, there's some stuff that I've kind of got my eye on if the store's got it in. We're looking for Mega Drive as well, Essentials as well, and then just anything like obscure, kind of like, vibes. Go off the artwork. If it's cool and it's relatively cheap, just go off the artwork. So yes, on to the next one, and I will see you soon.
See how Rex cleans through the enemy. I win! The greatest alien power Pandora has ever seen. And it's mine to control!
Okay, move out!
Okay, so we are out of Stroud now. Mini, tiny little CEX store in there. You really do just walk in and you can just see everything. Just a few very small aisles, quite tightly packed together, but there was a lot of stuff in there. It's not like the shelves are empty or anything. Loads of stuff in the display. We had a bit of an issue. Unfortunately, I have no signal in there at all, and I'm completely relying on electronic vouchers at the moment. Thankfully, I had 2 games to trade in, which covered my first purchase, which was something which was in a display cabinet that I saw whilst I was there. And then I picked up a few more games afterwards. I actually had to pay for. God forbid I had to pay for them because I had no access to anything. I just had no signal at all, which was really annoying. We're now on our way to Gloucester, where we're going to be closing out our 3 of 3 CEX store visit. And we are done. I have done all 3 of my local CEX stores today, and it is, I don't know, it's like 2 o'clock or something. Gloucester, you will not find a hive of greater scum and villainy. I can say that I live here, but that's obviously completely unfair for me to say, because some people are just down on their luck. Other people are doing a wheelie on their bicycle. It's a jury-rigged petrol engine on a bicycle. It's interesting. Yeah. Well. Technology issues abound. The outside world is just a harrowing experience. I'd prefer to just stay inside the rest of my life. Yes, indeed, I am an introvert. What a revelation. So, I have got a beautiful stack of games here from our little pickup haul, I guess, from the 3 CEX stores I visited today in chronological order, because otherwise I won't be able to cope. Cheltenham, Stroud, Gloucester. Pretty decent haul. I did go in with about £80 voucher. However, we did have some phone signal issues because I was relying on e-vouchers. Probably not the best idea. I should have just downloaded them. I should have foreseen that I wouldn't have phone signal in the middle of a town centre. Of course, why would I? So the first game that we came across was one on my list, and it popped out to me because it's just so beautiful and colourful. Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories.
But darling, do you not feel a special connection between us? A certain magic?
No, and I'll be honest with you, you're not really my type. Barry, is everything sorted for tonight?
Mate, seriously, of course it's bloody sorted. You're going to blow them away.
Now, as you can see, I picked this up and there was absolutely nothing in it. But I did hold on to it, just on the off chance all the innards and manual and everything was behind a desk. Good thing that I did in the end. So they had this up for £22. When I added it to my list, I think like last week, I did do a search on eBay, and the going rate is around £25 to £30, especially complete. Not only can you get obviously the manual with it, obviously, there seems to be some sort of like tabloid additional thing that you can get in this. You can get an insert as well. And I did want the complete thing. If I'm going to pay full whack, I obviously want it complete. Now, bit of an issue, bit of a boo-boo, if you will. Partly because this was all behind the counter, I didn't then really look at it. I said to the guy, any chance you've got this behind the counter, the manuals, everything? He said yes. Now, as I guess nationwide policy, all PS2 manuals, inners, inserts, all that kind of stuff will be behind the counter, sleeved with the disc. Very useful information. So just make sure if you pick something up and go, oh, it's not got a manual in, just check. It could be behind the counter. It makes it a little bit more awkward if you then have a bunch of games like, I only want the games that have got a manual and are complete, please. Put the rest back. Makes it a little bit more awkward. There were a couple of additional extras, so it won't take long for the keen-eyed among you. Disc, manual, and a poster. And I was like, okay, cool, yeah, it's got a couple of things with it. That's probably it. Okay, a lot of the time CEX don't really let you, handle things. I said, yeah, it looks like it's got the stuff with it that it should do. Do you want it? I was like, yeah, take that. That looks like it should be complete. Cool. Yeah, for the keen-eyed among you, this is Liberty City Stories. Now, do I pin that on Rockstar, who have labelled them as Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories? Or do I put it on the CEX guy there? He was very helpful and friendly, so I'm not going to say, oh, he messed up, he f***ed one up. it's an easy enough mistake to make. And it was only until I was de-stickering it and having a look at it properly that I went, hang on a minute, I've got the wrong game. So with any luck, they'll believe me when I go in, you know, next week or 2 weeks' time and say, you've given me the wrong game. So yeah, it wasn't the best condition either, to be fair. It has got some marks here, even once I've cleaned it up a little. Growing up before school, sometimes I'd like manage to get a little bit of time. I was like all ready and everything, I'd get a little bit of time just to like jump on Vice City and just put a load of cheats in and just cause mayhem for 15 minutes. Not progress the story, just cause mayhem, because you could like turn everyone like violent and create chaos and obviously get all the guns and all this mad stuff you could do. It's, you know, left, down, right, up, L1, R1, L2, R2, this, that, the other, right? Okay. I know there's probably a lot of people watching this going, yep, you know, you had those cheats memorized, and that was probably one of the only games that I did have cheats memorized for, but it just something comes back to you and you're like, yep, I used to be able to just go boop, 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 and you get, you know, weapons choice 1, and you get all these weapons, you know, blah, blah, blah. Very cool. Wrong game. Damn. So, alongside me being very premeditated when it comes to the games that I do pick up, very selective, I'm also going to be going for a bit more vibes, a bit more artwork, how we might have done as children. Look at the artwork. Does it look cool? Now, yes, it does have to be budget friendly. So I picked up Bladestorm: The 100 Years' War. Now, I've de-sticked this for the third time I've bloody recorded this video now, thanks to issues. I believe this was £6. And I don't think there's too many in stock. It might be uncommon, I'm not sure, but I looked at it. I was like, yeah, I've not really picked anything up for the 360 lately. That looks cool. I'll grab it. It is complete. I'll be overlaying gameplay of all these games, no doubt, trailers or gameplay, whatever it might be, just to enhance the visual experience, just in case you guys might not have seen these games before. I certainly haven't seen this one before. Or maybe it'll bring this nostalgia flooding back. So, the storm of the century. In the 14th century, a quarrel over English succession to the French throne escalated into what history would call the 100 Years' War. This ongoing war created a growing dependence on mercenaries. Take charge as a mercenary leader and contract your army to either side. Overwhelm your opponents to be the last one standing when the dust settles on one of history's greatest wars. So that sounds really cool. So you're basically the head of your mercenary, the head of an independent army, and you choose which side you can contract to. Sounds like a pretty cool premise. Hopefully it looks good. I've not looked up any reviews of the games that I picked up that I've never seen before, not played before, okay? Now this one, myself and the staff member very much agree that this should not have been on the shop floor. This was CEX Cheltenham, these games here. They had, you know, plenty in the display cabinets, 360 rarities, a few PS4 collector's editions and that kind of thing. Plenty in there, so they clearly know what they're doing, that they're putting stuff behind the counters and in the display cabinets. This was just sat on the shelf with everything in it. Final Fantasy 13 Limited Collector's Edition.
We will change the future!
It is one of those kind of like openable box ones. So we've got the art, the cards, the soundtrack, a lenticular kind of like 3D art card as well, and obviously the complete game in there. £15. I think this skyrocketed around when the 360 stuff did in general, and it was very close to the PS3 version. I think that's still very expensive. This one came down to 15. I think it was recently 12, like literally like a month ago. I was thinking of doing a CEX lottery, and if I had done that, it would have cost me 5p less. But I've looked at one of these before in person, and it had that classic 360 blue, where it's all faded, so you don't know if you're going to get a good one. This is in wonderful condition. It does have an issue where a lot of these openable boxes kind of do. It's lifted there on the corner, which is a massive shame, because that would literally make it, you know, very close to like mint condition. It's really good, especially for coming up on like 15 years old or whatever it might be by now. So that does it for CEX Cheltenham. I've got a bit of an issue with that store. There always seems to be someone trying to trade in a phone or something, which just it just takes a long time, and it's just prone to queues in that particular store. It's a good store, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stuff in the cabinets on display. Onto CEX Stroud, and as I've mentioned, you go into the Stroud store and you can literally just see like everything. It is just a one small kind of like room, but they are very friendly in there. One of the more friendly stores that I've visited. I do think, honestly, it's probably one of the smallest in the UK. Now, okay, I've not been to that many stores, but there can't be many CEX stores that are smaller than this one space. All of the displays are like filled, you know, there's plenty there to look at. It just hasn't got as much as obviously a lot of the larger ones. But yeah, very nice little cutesy shop. I did pick up a few games. I picked up more than a few games. I picked up 6 games here. Now, I just mentioned that I had no signal, and that was Stroud that I had no signal, so I did actually have to pay real money, which is a painful experience when you have voucher to use. But I picked up a couple of kind of like box PC games. They're not big box. Big box PC games are really like coming back. They're really gaining a little bit of traction, a bit of money to them. So top tip, if you come across big box PC games, whether it's in CEX for like, you know, pennies or boot sale for pennies, pick them up, you know, and a lot of the time they have really cool artwork as well. I bought these just because of, they were dirt cheap and for the artwork, so I think, I don't know which one's which, but as in how much. This was either 50 or 75p. X2 The Threat. Now, I've never played this game or like looked it up or anything, but looking at the back of it, it looks really cool. It looks right up my alley. Space, sci-fi kind of stuff, and it just looks and sounds cool. The minimum specs are just obviously like on the floor to what you need, or the specs, not even minimum, recommended. 256 megabytes of RAM, Pentium 4 1300 megahertz or equivalent, 64 megabyte 3D graphics card, GeForce, DirectX 8.1, and only 800 megabytes of hard drive space. Yes, I think this was the early 2003, this game, but it just looks awesome. And I've actually this morning gone to Steam and found it for like 99p. So I've downloaded that, and I'm wondering if I can maybe just run it on my laptop just to see if it's any good. So yeah, that's really cool. The ultimate test of combat, tactical, navigational, and entrepreneurial skills, space simulation of breathtaking depth and scope. So really, like, I've just put some sort of like gameplay on, and it's probably going to look dated, you know, 23-year-old PC game, but I just thought it looked cool, and for like 50 or 75p, I'll put that on the shelf, yeah. An Unreal Tournament 2004, now I wasn't an Unreal Tournament player. Was an FPS person until we got to the 360, the likes of Black Ops, that kind of thing, Modern Warfare 2. But again, when it's like, you know, 50p or whatever, I'm going to pick it up. It just looks cool. And that's all it's going to do. It's going to sit on the shelf looking cool. The rule of cool has prevailed. And this has got 6 CDs. Madness. And they've all got stickers on, like no one's ever actually opened these games. And obviously they're both in really good condition. And for $125 for both of them, couldn't say no to that at all. Now the next 3 games are PS2 games. Now again, I have gone for vibes a little bit. Now recently, this next game, I watched a Terminator game kind of retrospective, taking us through all the games and obviously the creators' feelings and thoughts, opinions on those games. And it did actually show me a game that I didn't know about. I think it's called Terminator 2D No Fate. I think you can get it on PS4 and like a day 1 edition or whatever, like £20-30. It looks pretty cool and the gameplay looks quite fun actually. I do have the Terminator for Mega Drive, but I wanted to get a little bit more, but the games just aren't that good. Now I have got Terminator Resistance, I think in the loft, it's not on the shelf, probably because I'll play it on PC if I do get around to playing it. But I believe there was possibly 3 releases on the PS2 and this is possibly the least bad version of a Terminator game on the PS2, and that is Terminator Dawn of Fate. I'm guessing the other two were the Terminator 3 Time game and then I think Redemption. This looked alright, and for £2.50 complete in there as well. It's just cool. Unfortunately, a lot of these kind of like IP tie-in movie games and IP tie-in games, they don't tend to be fantastic. They don't tend to be very good, especially if they've got a crappy film that they have to like tie into as well. This doesn't, I believe. So it's always darkest before the dawn. Los Angeles, 2027 AD. Okay, so next year, the killing machines of Skynet continue to wage their brutal campaign to eradicate humanity. As a soldier of TechCom, it is your mission to stop them. Simple as that. And that's all I need. They're machines and they're bad. They have red eyes, that means they're bad. And next year, I better get myself, you know, up on my survival skills, tactical skills, down the gym a little bit, because I am one unfit boy right now. Next one. So I've been playing Shadow of Rome recently for PS2. And I had that as a kid, a teenager, whatever age I was at the time, and I only remembered the like gladiatorial fighting and all the weapons and all that kind of stuff, and it being quite fun, which is why I got it out to play it. I didn't, however, remember the story, and I put a couple of hours into it, and it was just bogging down with these story elements. I wanted to take it in, but it was just not for me. I just wanted the fun, I wanted the action, I wanted the fighting. It wasn't. Not immediately, at least. It took a little while to get anywhere. So I'm hoping this is going to scratch that kind of like Gladiator itch for me. Gladiator Sword of Vengeance on PS2 as well. I think this was £4 complete in box.
Brave and noble gladiators, your imperator salutes you in time for your hearts.
So it looks cool. As I'm saying, guys, I'm going off some artwork here. They all look like gladiatorial combat fighting, right? So, a warrior slave, chosen by the gods to restore the glory of an empire. Sounds very Roman. Execute your enemies with over 60 different death blows. An epic story where you invoke the power of the gods. Okay, a bit more dubious on that one. High impact combo attacks. Fight multiple opponents simultaneously to improve your arsenal. Again, pretty simple, but fights good. Action, hopefully good. We'll have to see how that one plays. Again, I've not looked any of these up, so the gameplay that you're seeing, the first time that I've seen any of that gameplay as well. So now this one, I've got a reason why I buy all the games by the sounds of it. And typically I do. I'm not trying to just add filler. I'm trying to add games that I'm interested in playing, that kind of thing. The new to me CRT TV, obviously I've been having some display issues. Want to go watch those videos? Please feel free. It's been great. It looks awesome. I've had some display issues. The game that I've been using to test those has been Sonic the Hedgehog, and I came across this complete as well. I say complete, I obviously had to go to the counter, same thing, PS2 games, it's all behind the counter now. Sega Mega Collection Plus, and I think this was £6, so getting a bit pricey for something that I'm just like buying on a whim. But it has got a lot of Sonic games on here, to be fair. It's got a load of Mega Drive games, Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic & Knuckles, 3D Flicky's Island, The Hedgehog Spinball, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, as well as a selection of Game Gear games as well. So there's a lot of value in there. Now, I do not know whether this is going to play like the real thing, or whether it's just kind of like a poor imitation of playing it natively on the Mega Drive. Please do let me know down below if this is kind of like, is it a bad idea? Am I going to have a bad time? How was it received? I'm not someone that I think is probably going to notice unless there's some sort of obvious input lag. I am thinking about hooking up my PS2 to the CRT anyway and just seeing what it looks like, because technically I think that TV is 2003. It is from the exact era the PS2 was out, so it makes sense if I do hook it up. And the last thing that I picked up in CEX Stroud. Now, I did have 2 games to trade in, and thankfully they came to £20 voucher. This was £22 complete inbox with manual, and it is 007, The World Is Not Enough for an N64.
Whilst the movie and ultimately the game storyline isn't the most exciting one, the game itself is a surprisingly enjoyable experience which almost manages to bring itself out of the shadows of GoldenEye.
Yeah, so £22 I think is pretty good for complete, and the condition's quite nice. Apart from, you've got the very obvious kind of like completely normal little bit of wear and tear on the corners there, but other than that it looks really good. It looks a touch flat to my eyes. I don't know if it's just like that or whether it is maybe ever slightly faded, but if I put like a light on it, it does look pretty good. But yeah, I was quite happy with that. So just the £2 for that one technically, because I had 2 games to trade in. And I do have a Billy bonus of the GoldenEye manual as well, just because why not? Whilst I did play GoldenEye, I think at a friend's house a couple of times, I know how kind of like pivotal it was for like the genre, the FPS genre, and a fantastic game and how well received it was. I think this is kind of like it's often forgotten about, later game, which is interesting. But I've just watched like the entire classic James Bond stories. I did enjoy this one. Denise Richards in there, looking good, being a nuclear physicist, as you would expect.
Are you here for a reason? Or are you just hoping for a glimmer?
Wow, look at this.
A lot of things to do in Gloucester. The stock hasn't been great when I've been checking online the last few months, maybe the last 6 months, and it's certainly not. I've had no reason to go in on the off chance that I see something cool just in the store. But I had a couple of things to do in town anyway. Came across a game again I really wanted. Star Wars The Force Unleashed Ultimate Sith Edition on the PS3, which is a game that I want anyway. And it was an essential, so I was like, get in, yes, pick that one up. And unfortunately I didn't have the matching disc, so I left it there. Another game which is unfortunately kind of like creeping up. I do want that game, and I know it came with a lot of like really cool like DLC as well to it.
Very good. My apprentice.
And I do know that it is all on the disc. Not to worry, I didn't want the Essentials case and then just have the normal game, because I'd look at it every time and be like, ugh, bummed out, But I did manage to find this, which was, I think, I probably shouldn't have bothered. But it was just like, I needed to come away with something. I'd come away with all these games from the other 2 stores, and I was very close to coming away from nothing. Now, Gloucester, they do now have like these standing floor display cabinets, which are new for this year. They look pretty snazzy. Certainly the first time I've seen them in there. Nothing to do with the game. Final Fantasy 13 2 Steelbook. So I think this was the pre-order bonus, because I do have the pre-order bonus sealed, and I'm pretty sure it's this, from what I can see. So not a bad looking steelbook at all, but unfortunately this one is dented, and if I try and push it back out again it boulders, so not great. Fair condition, thankfully only £4 because it's not classed as like a different edition of the game at all. But yeah, I think, and that's on the 360, I think that completes my collection of the Final Fantasy 13 2 releases. I've got the Crystal Edition, pre-order one that's sealed, and I've got the steelbook game, which is the same thing. And then the game standard with the slipcover. I am after 13, I think has like the HMV exclusive slipcover, but it's a slippery slope when you start getting into these things that cost a lot more money for the same game. Right, so that was a long day, but it was a good day. I've got a lot of really cool games there to play and to put in the collection. I'm hoping these games are some way good. Terminator's probably not been that great. PC games are just me for decoration, but I have downloaded X2 The Threat on Steam, so I'm hoping that's going to be alright and still somewhat playable in 2026. Sonic Mega Collection, it'll be interesting to see how that plays compared to natively on a Mega Drive. And again, Gladiator Sword of Vengeance, I'm just after a bit of fun. It just needs to look okay, have decent controls, and just scratch that kind of like action fighting itch. And other than that, I think that wasn't bad at all. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Have you picked up anything particularly awesome lately? If you're in the UK at least, we've got the car boot season kicking off really shortly. I think it's this week. I'm not sure if I'm going to get into it this year, honestly. I feel so defeated when you go there and it's like, oh, you're never the first person. There's always loads of people there that are running around. There's loads of people there that are sellers that are like not there, and they're all running around buying up other people's stuff and all that kind of stuff. And it's very easy to get really deflated about it all. Like all the resellers have been there and they've picked up all the cheap games to flip them. And I just want stuff for my game collection. So if I do go, I'll just be looking on the off chance that there's some cool stuff to add to the shed and a few things here and there. And we'll go from there really. But yeah, very happy with my little CEX pickup haul there, and please do, if you've liked the video at all, please do consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. And I hope to see the next one. Thank you very much.